Back with Indian Open right here on Bloomberg Quinn. The equity markets are doing rather well for themselves. About 68 points in the green, 234 points for the Sensex, and the Nifty Bank too, about 0.5% higher. So it's not a bad start. It was a really good day for Ujjivan Financial Services as well. They reported about a 50% growth in profit, improvement in asset quality, which led to a fall in provisions to the lowest in 8 quarters. How did they manage to put up such a strong show? And what's the clarity with regards to the future ahead? Let's get in the management and Ittira Davis, the MD and CEO of the company, Johnson, right now to talk about that. Mr. Davis, good having you. Thanks much for joining in. Firstly, the numbers. I just want to focus on that for a bit before we get to what happens about the listing of the bank separately. For the first time after demonetization, I presume that we witnessed very significant traction on the asset side. Your microfinance book on a sequential basis too grew strong, and this was heartening from a lot of analysts' perspective. What went right? What's the outlook there?
Good morning to the Bloomberg viewers. Yeah, it was a good quarter for us. We have been building the bank. It's now 2 years, almost 2 years since we started operations in February 2017. So the framework, the base has been built. And as we get the traction from the branches, the converted branches, we are able to see the business growing. So yes, microfinance or microbanking, as we now call it, has grown quite well. And that has contributed to some of the growth. And we've also seen growth from some of our new sectors or new businesses that we have put on since the last couple of years, housing as well as the MSE sector. So the new businesses now contribute about 14% of our balance sheet, and the other 86 is still microbanking. So overall, I think, and also the third and fourth quarters, as a general rule, tend to be better than the first and second quarters. So when you add up all of that, I think it's been a good quarter.
Mr. Davis, the AUM growth that you've shown on a YOY basis, 32%. Now, it's an interesting bit because some of the other NBFCs, not as strong, but the commentary from some of the other NBFCs has been that, yes, there was pain in this quarter, but it seems to be largely over. You seem to be largely unaffected by the liquidity crunch as well. For a business like yours, has it had no impact? And therefore, the kind of growth that we've shown, do you reckon that can continue in the quarters ahead as well? Is Jan, Feb, March also showing promise of that?
A couple of points, interesting points that you raise on this. Now, Ujjivan, the holding company is a NBFC, but the main operating company is a bank. And I think that transition which we made 2 years ago has helped us to get over the current liquidity issues. Because there is no liquidity as far as the bank is concerned. The banking system is operating well. And, the liquidity that we have seen coming into Ujjivan Small Finance Bank has not been an issue. So I think that transition has helped us. So I think that is an important factor. And going forward, I think the main aspect is the fourth quarter is also looking good. We have finished most of the conversion of branches. So we are concentrating on customer building up and customer growth. So I think, that will show on the bottom line in the next couple of
was the lowest provisioning in the 8 quarters, I believe, at least in the last 8 quarters to whatever little I understand and whatever the numbers I saw, which helped you maintain the profitability as well. What's the outlook there?
The credit quality, we have learned a lot of things through the demonetization, understanding what's happening on the ground. And we have our branches across the country. Now a lot of people ask us, what is all this brick and mortar? Now, brick and mortar has given us the advantage of having early warning systems built up across the country. So if there are any issues in any different parts of the country, we get that feedback through our branches. And the credit policy, credit decisions can be then tailor-made to address those issues. So I think that is the sort of sophistication that we have now brought in terms of credit decisions. Also, the credit culture is now very strong across the institution. And I think all of these have contributed to building and helping us get to the level we have in terms of credit outstandings.
Okay. Mr. Davis, is the major part of the branch rollout coming to an end? And therefore, can you give us some color of whether this cost to income ratio at about 77 odd percent, has peaked, or is it difficult to say that right now? And if it has peaked, what's the outlook like for the next 4 to 6 quarters? How much do you bring it down to?
Yeah, I think you could say it is peak because, the last 3 quarters we have been rolling out 1 branch a day, literally. This 4th quarter, the number of branches will drop, conversion will drop down to about 15 branches. So a big change from 90 branches to 15. So that is going to help the cost structure. But since some of these costs come onto the books on a lag basis, it may take until the 1st quarter of the next year, the new financial year, to have the full impact. But some of the impact will be seen in the 4th quarter, where costs will be brought down on the branch expansion. But we will be still adding to the new branches some of the staffing. So those costs will go up initially, but that also will be contained once the rollout and staffing is all completed. So I think overall, your question about how far it's going to go and what it is, let me give you a 2 to 3 year horizon. In 3 years, we are going to see this cost income ratio in the 50 to 55 range. That's our target. That's what we are working on. The whole management is focused on containing costs and making sure that the revenues appropriately grow to take care of the cost income ratio.
Right, got that. Mr. Davis, I just want to come in on, and this will probably be one of the last few questions. The last time we spoke with regards to the RBI circular of listing your banking unit, I mean, you'd put out a notice about Jan 30th, 2020. That's the time where you have to go ahead and list your banking unit. You said you're talking to advisors and making sure that things happen in a prescribed manner. What is the update on that right now?
Yeah, we have had a board meeting, and there is now a roadmap which the board has given us a go-ahead on. We have, a couple of options. So we are now using and working on option 1. And as soon as it requires us to get approvals from the RBI and SEBI and so on. So as soon as those, approvals are got, once we clear one of the options, then we will let you know, what exactly is the roadmap, how we are going about the listing. So it'll take perhaps a couple of months before all the regulators give us the green signal and give us a sign on and say it's go ahead for us. So give us a little time and we'll be back to you.
Sure, but in any way, could you just even allude to what those options could be? I mean, while you...
There are different ways to achieve the listing. So I think... there are the plain vanilla options and there are the more complex ones. We will be trying to see what is best for our shareholders, because that is the most important. The shareholders of the holding company need to be taken care of and their concerns addressed. So I think all the options that we have on the table take those into consideration.
Okay. Mr. Davis, we'll leave it at that. Thank you so much for taking the time out. I'm guessing you can't really talk too much about this, so we'll talk about the listing plans once you have some firmer opinion on that. But thanks so much and congratulations on a good quarter.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's Ujjivan Financial Services. Take a very quick break. Come back with the management conversation with Sterlite Technologies. In fact, I'm told we have them. Can we go across to Sterlite Tech or should we take a break? Okay, let's take a quick break. Come back with the management conversation of Sterlite Technologies.